Um, it's I appreciate I wasn't here last week. Hopefully, I won't have too many more disruptions until maybe late August, very close to the time. Also, very sorry. Get myself on camera. Uh, Hello and welcome. Uh, if you haven't caught the previous streams, uh, I'm Legroom 2368. We are playing the video game Dwarf Fortress. This is a very in-depth labour of love from Bay 12 Games, Zach and Todd Adams, who have sunk almost 20 years into creating. I think development started more than 20 years ago. 20 years into creating and iterating on this game. A couple of years ago, there was a Steam release which added a bunch of user interface elements, graphical user interface elements, and that then led to a huge upswell in support, huge upswell things, and has put them on a stable enough financial footing. But until that point, it was an entirely free to download. You know, give Tadam some money on PayPal if you want to situation. So it's built up this fantastic community, but it is an incredibly detailed simulation management game where you take a group of 7 dwarves in a Tolkienian style world, which is procedurally generated, take them to a place in the world, and you start a township, effectively. Um, this is we are reclaiming in this series of streams. We are reclaiming a ancient lost township, uh, uh, Alatholan, which translates roughly to bolt tongs. We the first stream was very much getting set up, choosing the location. I was doing a lot of describing stuff, a lot of explaining my logic and reasoning, and we had a little bit of a look in at the history of the world that we're playing in, because not only is the world procedurally generated, so is the history and the comings and goings of various things. And then in the last stream, I set up some things, did a bunch of exploring underground, and made some poor decisions due to a whole host of things that were going on in my life at the time, which resulted in the deaths of 2 dwarves, 2 of our first dwarves. We did have some migrant waves come from our founding civilization, so our population has grown somewhat. And I said at the end of last week's stream that I'd come on to the game save and do some of the more time-consuming fiddly management stuff. I haven't been able to have time to do that. I appreciate that that's quite rich of me to say, seeing as I didn't stream last week. There was a death in the family. It's been a very fraught situation. Now it's calmed down a bit. I should be back to streaming every week on Mondays. That's my intention. That's my goal. So so this week, what I'd like to really get focused in on is completing the first year, because we're still in autumn of our first year at Boltongs. I'd like to get the space securable, so that if we have a something attacks us, or if something we have an invasion, or as we start to generate value, we start seeing more and more serious enemies. Just realised I'm clipping slightly on the voice there. If we get more and more serious enemies, then we can lock down effectively. So that's goal the first, and then goal the second will be to move a lot of the industry that's on the surface level, which I just put down to have somewhere to put it, moving that underground, potentially starting to plot out a securable route for traders, so that I can have my trade depot in a more protected location than it currently is, and set up some traps and things of that nature. So that's the second objective. The third objective will be to sort out jobs, labour, reallocate all my nobles, and set up an appropriate living situation for my dwarves. So they go from surviving to living. That'll be said. Let's get into the gameplay, and we have here our surface layer. So, there we go. Didn't click across the right window, and then hotkeys are a thing. So we are currently having a little bit of a naked mole dog problem. Think naked mole rat, but I think they're roughly dwarf sized, maybe a little bit smaller, so maybe 6 to 8 feet long. We've got this little ramp down into the body of the fortress, as it was for reclaiming. Here's our first cavern layer with a drawbridge that I can secure. The fortress proper, which I will be setting up some of these rooms as bedrooms and things of that nature. Actually, whilst I'm here, I'm just going to unforbid all these clothes, because that's going to save me a lot of time in the long run. So, when we came to this fortress, everything because we're reclaiming a fortress that was lost. There was a battle somewhere in the region of 80 years before our game started. We are in year 250. There's very few previous inhabitants. We had some stuff with no, that's the wrong menu. Other, there we are. Some previous inhabitants. Bit of an issue. A naked mole dog has gone into our cage trap. That's good to know. Just unforbid everything for the moment. I'm not going to hit unforbid all, because that's going to cause a raft of problems down in the caverns. But wait, what's these walls? Marble. Perfect. So, people who were tuning into the stream last week might have noticed, or the week before, might have noticed I was quite concerned about my underlying geology for my fortress. So the reason behind that is Dwarf Fortress as a serious simulation game. Sorry, bit of an itch. One of the things that the developers of the game really focused on when they were making this was geology and metallurgy. So the geology is procedurally generated based on other things, and metallurgy cares about a lot of this stuff. So if you're wanting to make copper, say, you need to find an ore of copper. So that would be tetrahedrite. That could be native copper if you're finding copper nuggets. It could be malachite. You then need to smelt that copper ore into copper bars, and then you can make things from those copper bars. Now, part of the process of steel making, which in this setting is culturally exclusive to dwarves. Only dwarves have the cultural knowledge of how to make steel as opposed to iron. The process of steel making involves 2 steps where impurities need to be removed from the iron. And the other ingredient that is used in these 2 steps well, one of the two other ingredients, the other being a carbon source, as so charcoal or coal, is a flux stone. So that's generally speaking a calcium carbonate stone or something like limestone. Most of the stones in the game that are tagged as flux are sedimentary rocks. So it's limestone, calcite, chalk, diorite are the four that are sedimentary. I am on a lot of underlying igneous geomorphology here, so I don't have much sedimentary rock. I've got some sedimentary rock at kind of surface level. If we come up a bit, we can see, what's the geology around here. We've got some shale is metamorphic, I guess. Gypsum is found in sedimentary. So I've got some sedimentary rocks in near the surface, but I wasn't finding flux near the surface. So I was thinking that I would need to, and indeed when I talked to the trade caravan, which have just left, I don't know if I said it whilst I was doing the trade window, because there was I was getting quite flustered by the end of last stream. One of the things I was trying to do was get my hands on flux stones so that I could do steel making in future. Steel is very important if I'm looking to do military stuff or have well-equipped dwarves for dealing with caverns, which I almost certainly will be in this game, given we've already lost 2 dwarves to a giant spider. Just looking around at the stone we have here. Yeah, we've got sand, which is nice. Sand will come up in probably not today, but definitely in future streams when I'm looking at doing. Anyway, distracting myself here. We've got. So I've got some. I don't have very much flux that I found. The 5th flux stone that I didn't mention there is marble, which is the only metamorphic flux stone. And it looks like on some of our layers where the actual fortress is, have been quarried out of. Where was it? I literally was just looking at it before. It's where all those. Can't believe I've lost it already. Yeah, there was definitely marble in some of my spaces that were already dug out. How have I lost it already? I don't think it was this deep. Oh, I wish I was better at keeping track of stuff. Galena. So galena is useful as I believe it's an ore of silver and lead. Silver obviously worthwhile for making things out of that you want to have good value, a good financial value. Lead is less useful, but less directly useful, but it's still, if you want a heavy thing, lead is good. How have I lost an entire layer of marble? I think I need to set, if I can find it again, I think I might need to set a marker down. So so these walls and floors I'm able to mouse over. If you can see, there's a pop-up just at the top of the screen there that tells me what the material is that I'm looking at. Was it over here? Yes, it was. So I'm going to where's the What's a hotkey? So I'm going to go for marble deposit. Set this to current view, so I can, whenever I hit F2, I will go here, because that means I never need to do all this mumbling again. So that's taken a little bit of my worry away, because I do have a source of marble. So one of the things I'm going to do now to make sure that I don't accidentally misuse valuable stone, I'm going to alter some of our stone use rules. So, this is the stone use submenu in the labor menu, and I can adjust for all stones that I want to, all stones that I can get my hands on, of all types, what we can make from these things. So, I'm looking here. We have economic and other stones. So economic stones are things like ores, things like flux stones, and things like raw coal, or other things of that nature. Stuff that has a specific extra use. Other stone is other stone. There's a little checklist here for whether it's magma safe or not. Magma will melt stuff that has a melting point lower than its temperature. So it's one of the two big thresholds for temperature management in the game. The other being fire safe, but that one comes up a lot less often. There are some, wood, almost all wood, for example, can burn. So if something, if you get a creature that can spit fireballs, which has happened to me before, it can set fire to huge swathes of the map because things like grass will burn. So having your front doors made out of something that will not melt when exposed to fire is good. Magma safe is important for if you're doing anything involving magma, which we will probably be doing, probably not this stream, almost certainly not this stream, but definitely in a future stream, because we've got limited coal, and that means we can save what coal we do have for metallurgical coal, using the carbon in it as a carbon source for steelmaking, rather than using burning it to fuel a furnace, to fuel a forge. Instead, we can use magma for that heat source. But so that when we're dealing with that, we need to make sure that everything we're working with is safe to use magma. So what I'm going to do here, we'll see things like calcited dolomite. So that's where the sprite is this kind of dome shape. I am going to make sure that they are not selected to use in non-economic jobs. So chalk, for example, is currently selected to use in non-economic jobs. Do not want that. Want reserving limestone as well, marble as well, importantly. Yeah. Making sure that we're not accidentally using up our valuable flux stones when I'm telling people to make, furniture. And I don't think I need to reserve any of these stones for any particular purposes. Whilst I'm in the labour menu, one of the other things I need to make sure I'm doing is kitchen management. So this is the kitchen menu. So this menu covers all of the food, all of the raw food resources we have in the fortress. So see all of these meats, and then down here all of these plant products. So I've got here, this column here is, can it be cooked? And this column here is, can it be brewed? So I'm going to make some very important adjustments here. I'm not going to cook with milk. I'm not going to cook with any alcohols, because we need those for drinking, and I'm not going to cook with plump helmets because once again we need those for drinking. Dwarves drink more than they eat. They eat roughly twice per season. They drink roughly 5 times per season. And a hungry dwarf is an unhappy dwarf that can eventually starve to death. A sober dwarf is a very unhappy dwarf, and a dwarf that will potentially cause fights and things of that nature. We do not want this to happen, so we need to make sure that we're having a stock of drink. One of the big things I did last week, and one of the things that led to the 2 deaths, was I set up a farm plot for plump helmets, this little purple mushroom, in the caverns. Admittedly, I set it up before I had the place properly secured. Set up a space in the caverns to do plump helmet farming so that we could have a source of alcohol, a regular source of alcohol. So standing orders. I'm also going to deselect automatic web collection because automatic web collection will send people into the caverns at all times. Hauling, refuse and dumping. I'm going to gather outdoor refuse. Make sure I'm claiming my dead, because I was also having a weird issue where the dead bodies in the caverns weren't being collected. There is 1 child. Children are responsible for those things. Yeah, so that's the kitchen menu resolved at the moment. I will be coming back to this screen. So one of the things that is simultaneously really useful and really frustrating. Oh, thank you, BF Hack, for adding a little thing there. Is that it'll only load onto this screen food products that you have in your fortress, which is on the one hand good because there are probably thousands of food items in the game, given that there are various different ways of preparing any given piece of meat. Any given animal will have a selection of different meats that you make from it. Every milkable animal has both milk and cheese that can be derived from it. There's hundreds of plants. I think hundreds is realistic. Yep, hundreds of plants, most of which can either be brewed, cooked with directly, or milled to make flours, or dyes, all of which will interact with this menu. So if it loaded everything onto this menu at once, it would just be, here is a list that is 5,000 items long, which is obviously unworkable. But it does mean that whenever we get a new, if we start growing another crop, I need to go into this menu again to make sure that we're doing what we want to do with it properly. So things I've done here, none of our seeds are being cooked with, which is important because if you cook with a seed, you can't plant it. None of our alcohol is being cooked with, which is important because that keeps the alcohol on hand. And our plump helmets are being brewed. I might do some surface gathering of plants just to diversify the alcohol a bit, but that'll work for now. And right, so one of the things I wanted to get done today is setting up work details properly. We've got 17 adult dwarves and 1 child, and each of these adult dwarves I can assign work details to, based on their skills and things of that nature. I have not yet used this menu in this save file, which means that anything that isn't assigned through this menu, everybody is being allocated the task. And this causes 3 main problems to me. So the first being jobs are going to dwarves as soon as they finish their current task, which means that dwarves that aren't good at a job, dwarves that are at the complete other end of the fortress, they go, okay, I've just finished making a table. Oh, there's fruit that needs planting 60 Z levels down on the farm. I'm going to walk all the way down there and I'm going to do that, instead of the dwarf that's nearby who hasn't yet finished their job. So I can't, everybody's spending a lot of time walking around. So the second problem is, as we can see here, when you've got a lot of people doing a thing, they all start getting skills in that thing, which means I'm not concentrating skill development into specific dwarves. I'm going to have jacks of all trades and masters of none, and that leads to slower production and lower quality items overall. You know, if I have a really good carpenter, they make really good beds. If I have 16 okay carpenters, I'm making okay beds, and I'm very rarely in a position where I need to have 16 carpenters' workshops going. And the third problem for me is when you have a lot of people with middling skill in a thing, you start triggering guild mechanics. So people for the first stream might know that I set up, one of the first things I set up was a weaponsmith's guild hall, which is why I've got so many weaponsmiths now, because people who don't have relevant crafting skills are learning weaponsmithing there. But if I have, say, 8 people, 10 people, I think 10 is the trigger point, with sufficiently high skill in, let's say, fishing, I will get a petition for a fishing guild hall, which I have to set aside a location for, put stuff in. It has to be worth so much value, which could often take time away from doing other things, take space away from doing other things, and then the dwarves who are in that guild at minimum will congregate in that space and do fishing guild related things. Guild petitions can be a pain in the backside if you don't have access to high value materials, which I don't really yet. I haven't mined any gems. I haven't set up metalworking yet. Like there's a lot of metal workshops in this reclaimed fortress. You know, hundreds of things, easily 100 of them. But I haven't done any coal making. I haven't started that ball rolling yet. So I don't have copper and gold and silver and platinum and steel to work with to make high value objects. So I'm trying to minimize the number of guilds I have. I went for a weaponsmith's guild largely because dwarves can occasionally enter what's known as a strange mood. They will gather when they're in a strange mood. They will stop anything else they're doing. They will claim a workshop. They will gather stuff, and they will make a thing. And the workshop they claim, the materials they gather, and the thing they make is based on their highest crafting skill. So if I have a dwarf that is largely a military dwarf, if he's got a moderate weaponsmithing skill, if he gets a strange mood, he will make a weapon. If I have somebody who's a farmer and their highest crafting skill is weaponsmithing, they will make a weapon. And legendary weapons are really, really good. Any legendary piece of equipment is made at the highest possible quality level. And for a lot of the strange moods that you can get, the dwarf will immediately be put at the highest skill rank in that skill. So having a weaponsmith make a legendary axe or sword or whatever else, that can lead to making even the normal stuff that they're making comes out at high quality. So that all being said, I want to now start restricting job duties. So I'm looking at this menu. I've got 18 dwarves. I do not need 4 miners. Again, we're spreading the skill too thin here. So I'm going to take... so currently it's sorted by highest to lowest skilled. So I'm going to take these 2 miners here that are my 4th and 5th best miners. They aren't going to be digging anymore. They're going to be doing other stuff. Woodcutters. I do not need 5 woodcutters. Again, I'm not cutting down wood often or regularly in large numbers. I don't need a hunter at the moment. Planters I do want to designate. So I've got nobody here with a planting skill. Because the person I brought to the fortress with the planting skill got killed by a giant spider, and planting skill is something I very definitely want to concentrate into specific dwarves. The higher the planting skill, the better the plants that grow. So plant growth, you plant a seed and you grow between 1 and 5 plants, I believe it is, maybe 6, in that tile. The higher the skill of the planter, harvesting skill doesn't matter. Higher the skill of the person doing the planting, the bigger that stack is, and that stack size affects everything downstream. It's not just that you get more fruit, it's or more plant. You get a stack of 5 plump helmets gets turned into 25 alcohol. A stack of 2 plump helmets gets turned into 10 alcohol in one job, and gets stored as one object. So that reduces the amount of storage space you need and speeds things up. Same kind of everything downstream gets better when you have good planters. So there's nobody doing fishing. So let's make our fish cleaner a planter, and let's make our former miner a planter. Fisher dwarves. I have the expedition leader is a novice fisher dwarf. I'm going to deselect fishing. There is no water source on this map that we've come across yet, except in the caverns. I want to limit how much time people are just spending around the caverns. Plant gathering. Okay, you're an adequate herbalist. Again, just pick a couple of people. Something I've noticed when I've been doing plant gathering in previous fortresses, it's given a very high priority by the game. So you have a lot of you say, I want to gather plants, and then 30 dwarves swarm out. You go, okay, it's not that urgent. And so stonecutters, let's give our adequate stonecutter the exclusive right to that, and one other guy. Our broker, why not? So that's smoothing rock and I believe some of the stone crafting. Engraving, for similar purposes, let's give it to these 2 guys. I'm always wanting to give at least 2 people a job, a role, because that means that when when one person is injured or indisposed or busy, there's still a potential for the task to get done. Hauling, I'm happy for everybody to do hauling. I'm happy for everyone to fetch water for sick and injured people, and I'm going to add some work details. So custom detail 1, I'm going to set woodworking. Hope if I can spell. So I've got my broker is a legendary carpenter and bowyer, so that's an easy pick. And my bookkeeper is also an adequate carpenter. That'll do. So that's quite a nice set of skills for him to have. Yeah, so that's working well. Add a new work detail. Don't really feel the need to. Probably do stone carving. I don't feel the need to do masonry. Masonry is largely about construction and like putting up a wall or putting up a workshops made of stone, which in turn is not especially necessary as a specialism. It's I find it much easier to have like everybody builds the wall, so when I build a wall it builds quickly. I will, however, lump stone carving, which is the crafting skill for stonework, in with other crafting skills for the moment. So that's largely going to be crafts other than leatherworking. Okay, stone crafting is a separate thing. Worthwhile to limit masonry if once you get one though. See, the thing for me is the limiting factor when I'm doing like wall building, for example, isn't the skill level of the dwarf doing the crafting. It's the hauling. It's bringing the block from wherever it is to wherever the work site is. Thank you, Gentle Sentient. Sorry for the. I'm reacting to the chat. I realise that when I upload this to YouTube, that people can't see the chat, so I should really say. Gentle Sentient said, worthwhile to limit masonry if / once you get one though, which is true enough because the skill level of the mason affects the quality tags on the workshop, and that can give people happy moods. But counterpoint is very often when I'm building a wall, I like doing large constructions. I like so my previous fortresses, I walled off the entire caverns, just wall all the way along every face, and then the only way that things can come in is through a channel I deliberately leave full of cage traps, things of that nature, so I can use the caverns in a safe way. If I'm doing that, I need to get 80, 100 wall building jobs done. So having one skilled dwarf, that's a lot of going up and down stairs. Whereas if I get 10, 15 dwarves doing it, simple. But yeah, it's not level working. Not let's separate out cloth work as well. And strand extraction. I'll set strand extraction to its own thing once I start working with esoteric materials. But I think I'm happy to call this crafting. Walls are not masonry. Okay. Trade depots, bridges, furnaces, and wells. Yeah, again, the time to build for most of those things I have never found as my problem. Yeah, I've got a lot of skills in this one, so let's get those there for the sake of argument. Let's have a look. So next, do animal animal handling. Guess beekeeping will come under that. No, animal care I should have more broadly. Not sure I like my... If you're denying yourself the chance of masterwork designed well with artifact chain, buckets, and artifact, then is a fort really worth building? I take your point. I take your point. Why settle for second best? I don't see the need for it at the moment. Maybe later on I'll take that under advisement. So I've done animal stuff. Let's look at plant work. Milling, plant processing. I wish I didn't have this trammer. It makes my typing accuracy absolute garbage. Right. Simple things here. Put spinning, dyeing, clothes making, weaving. Yeah. So Jan Sanchez said, as I said, if you get one, premium basically remove training for a few skills. Masonry is just one of them. Never had one in the browser. So something that might help you out is what I just talked about with guild halls, because having guild halls affects the skills you receive in your migrant waves. If you have a guild hall, even if it's set to just citizens, the citizens that you get are more likely to have high skills in that skill. So if you're really wanting to have a fortress with a lot of skilled masons or some skilled masons in it, setting up a masons guild hall can cause skilled masons to come along, and then they will lead demonstrations in that guild hall. So that could work as a way of doing that. I think the one fortress that I managed to get far enough to start working with adamantine in before I got bored in the Steam release, I did that for strand extraction, so that I had a base with some amount of strand extraction skill before I started working with adamantine. So that, I think, is all the fiber. Add a new work detail. I appreciate that when I've got people without skills, it's a bit arbitrary what I'm just sticking stuff in. Is there anything really important other than metalsmithing that I haven't assigned to a specific job? Brewing and yeah, brewing, cheese making. So kitchen work and metalsmithing. So this one is. Oh, looks like there's a little bit of a glitch there on the portraits. Got in a secondary, isn't there? Jewellery. So that's going to be you for the sake of argument, because you don't have anything else going on. And you. And then add a new work detail. Metalsmithing. So arms and armor I was counting under metalsmithing in general, like the broad category. Once we get more dwarves, I'll probably start to again do some subdividing there. But I will make sure I have an armor smith in my Optimizing for moods, are we now? Yeah, I've been optimizing for moods since since the SIS. One of the very first things I did was set up a metalsmithing in the first stream of the series. Set up a um, weaponsmiths guild hall. That's the word I was saying. To make sure that skill was present. No, not even a forge. Just set up a weaponsmith's guild hall, and I brought a dwarf with the weaponsmithing skill with me in my embark, so that I could, so that everybody was getting an amount of that skill passively, just from hanging out there. Because if someone's socialising and someone else is leading a demonstration, that they count as watching the demonstration. No, you're in the militia, so you're going to be out of action for half the time. Let's put you on you, and then you're a furnace operator as well. No, that'll do it. That'll do it. Yep. So that I think will see us through. What did I put as this one? Did I just create one and then not put anything in it? I think I must have. Oh, no, that's... So what did I put in jewellery? Did I just create one and then put one in? At least metalsmithing was still on Everybody Does This. Yeah, that's a point. I need to actually flip these across. Otherwise, I'd come into the next week's stream and be very confused. This on is actually my jewellery. One. Let's just deselect those. This one, I don't think I've put anything in, so this is going to be kitchen work. Brewing, cheese making, cooking. Yeah, no, generally speaking, I do a lot of breaking down. I didn't want to do that in the first stream. I didn't want to do it in the first stream because it's not terribly exciting to watch. I genuinely intended to do all of this menu stuff off stream because we are, 50 minutes in and I haven't unpaused the game yet. But life has gotten away from me over the last couple of weeks. But that said, I think it's useful and important to illustrate and talk about. I'm going to give that to 3 people. Right, so a lot of this is entirely arbitrary anyway, because I haven't built the workshops for most of these skills. But they're ready for when we want to get things started. So yeah, that's that. I'm going to double check my tasks menu. So putting things in stockpiles. All of that jazz. Thieving mysterious creatures. So that, just going to cross off my little to-do list here. So the other thing I was going to do off stream, might still do off stream, is setting up work orders, because I haven't set up any work orders yet for this fortress, and that means that I'm having to manually input everything that needs making, which is not ideal, not perfect. Right, let's set up some bedrooms. Are there any bedrooms with actual beds in them yet? Not many, but that's fixable. That was not the button I wanted to press. Yeah. Yeah. Ooh. Right. So let's double check my places menu. Yeah. So currently, I've only got a couple of zones set up. Yeah, trying to make this livable. Gonna set. Because that was set to a bedroom. What I can do is set instead this. Accept. Add to existing thing. Master of Whips, which was the tavern that was up here, and then I can set a dining hall. The space. Accept. Add. No. Add to Master of Whips, and then set it to citizens only. So that should hopefully lead to people having a bit more of a, first of all, drinking with mugs. Secondly, you know, eating somewhere that, did I set that as a dining hall? Yeah, eating somewhere that's a nice dining room. There's nice things in here. Hang on, that's soil inside. Okay, that might alter my plan slightly. So I think I might pull up some of this space here maybe and use that as an inside pasture. Yeah, let's try that. If I can move my livestock indoors, that makes life a little bit easier for a bunch of stuff. Might see if I can find a good place to put a proper stairwell in as well. Because this ramp thing, because it's not, you know, one consistent location, it's messing with me a bit. I don't like this open space either. One thing at a time, Dave. One thing at a time. So yeah, I've got this little cistern with a operational well. So this is, for the sake of argument, my barracks. This is for the sake of argument, my dormitory. These are my bookmaker's office and my manager's office. Just for the sake of having a physical location for them, I will. I intend to move them into the fortress proper. I just needed a place for them to be in the short term. Right, so my bottom cavern layer. Pretty sure this is the bottom layer. Might be the second layer, but I haven't found anything any deeper yet. This is where I've been doing my farming. It's been doing fairly well. Unfortunately, they've decided not to gather the body of our first planter, so he's just kind of stood there, which is a shame. And I'm putting a roof on it. So I've walled off this section here. I'm putting a roof on it so that I can just kind of have this connected into the fortress proper, without worrying about surviving. Yeah, it's a lot of things. So things that I want to have set up for by the end of this stream. I've done the job allocation for now, so that's one of the big tasks. Another big task I'd like to get sorted is getting set up for sustaining. So I want food crops, or a large enough population of animals where I can just be growing stuff. I want to have a proper inventory of everything that we've got here, because there is a lot of stuff here that I don't really know what we're going to do. And I want to be able to secure the entire fortress. So there's a couple of places where stuff can still get in if I close all my drawbridges. So I can bridge off this access into the upper caverns. I can bridge off this access here into the lower caverns. However, the road that was generated intersects the upper caverns here. So a flying enemy, or an enemy that can climb, or even jump down, can get in here. So my plan one is wall that off, sealing that off, so that stops being a problem. And then I also want to put a drawbridge or something in at the terminus so that nothing can spawn here and just come straight into the fortress. Or rather, if something does, then we've got less of a problem. That's... I've got some potential risks going on. I'd like to start moving some of our facilities into the large underground spaces we have. I've got a lot of stuff on the surface here that I don't really want to be to keep on the surface long term. It is here for the sake of having it be somewhere, anywhere at all. Looking at all of this stuff in, yeah. So, things I'm going to do. Work orders menu. So, work orders are really, really useful. If I remember from the ASCII version, the Dwarf Fortress Classic, they were quite clunky to input and set up. Now they're a lot more straightforward. The GUI really helps with that, and they interact directly with the manager role for the nobles. That's what the manager does, is certify work orders. So what I can do, especially now that I've got a bookkeeper, so I've got accurate counts of all the resources I've got, and increasingly accurate counts. I can set up a bunch of conditionals so that I can either produce a bunch of stuff at once, manufacture a bunch of stuff, assigning work to multiple workshops if I've got multiple workshops to do the work, and just automate certain layers of my fortress and my planning. So the first thing I'm going to do, carpenter's workshop, wooden bin. So currently it's set to make 10 wooden bins. I'm going to put some conditionals in. So I'm going to make it, amount of empty bins is less than 3. Amount of logs is greater than 5. And then, so if I've got less than 3 bins, I do this job. If I've got more than 5 logs, I do this job. If I don't have both, I don't do the job. So, and then it's going to make 3 bins. So that means I'm always going to have between 3 and 5 empty bins to go and store things. Because currently one of my big problems is I've got a lot of clothes, for example, that are just kind of sitting out in the open. It's like this, what previously was the previous fortress's big stockpile. Most of this could be in bins, and it could be taking up a third of the space that is here. in theory. None of it is, which means if I wanted to find what I've got available to me, it's more tricky, and it's more tricky to move and centralize. So, building containers. I will also do a similar job for barrels. So, carpenter, make wooden barrel. Actually, make that more important than the bins, because if I don't have barrels, I can't make alcohol, which is vital, as previously mentioned. So, amount of empty barrels, amount of empty barrels is less than 5. Amount of logs available is greater than more than 5. So let's start that job. And then it's tapping off, and then we make 3 barrels. So again, always going to have spare barrels in stock. Yep. So you see here, restarts have completed, conditions checked daily, not satisfied for next check. So we have 5 or more empty barrels, so it's not going to run this job. Going to prepare lavish meals. So I'm going to set up some work orders here for cooking and brewing, so I don't need to worry about it. And the higher up they are on this list, the more priority the game gives to the check. So it goes, if it's doing, it'll check like top down. So it'll go, I'll do the make wooden barrel job, and then after that it'll go, if that I'll assign the wooden bin job. So the ones at the top get completed earlier, get completed faster, and they might interfere with the requirements of the later ones. So the more important something is, higher on the list. Mess about with this list with these arrows. This isn't a tutorial stream, but I've watched a lot of tutorials when I start getting into Dwarf Fortress, so I'm in that headspace. So preparing lavish meals, we want unrotten prepared meals. We want unrotten cookable items. So unrotten prepared meals available is less than 10. So this is the key one here. I want to make sure that we've got plenty of food on hand. I don't have a huge number of chefs assigned. I don't currently have a kitchen, I don't even think, so that might change. But I want to make sure that we have the food on hand in case of a siege, or in case of significant disruption. To that end, I'm thinking in terms of having a stockpile of a year or maybe 2 years worth of consumable resources. I'm not going to do that with clothes for the moment, because as you've seen, all of the bedrooms, what were bedrooms in this fortress, are full of clothes. All the stockpile is full of clothes. Like, my drawers can live for years, with the number of drawers I've got, years, just off the clothing that's strewn about the fortress. So I'm not going to be too worried about clothing. I'm making clothing right now. Food and drink, yes. So, dwarves, they drink 5 times a season, they eat twice a season on average. So for every dwarf, I need 8 meals a year. I've got about 20 dwarves. 20 times 8 is 160. So if I say I want to have at least 160 meals, we have enough food for the fortress. Less than 150. Amount of cookable is less than 40, because you use 4 ingredients to make a lavish meal. Highest value, dwarves like it the most, and getting raw food is relatively straightforward, so that's less of a problem. Yep. Gonna put in a similar set of jobs for brewing. So we said, what, 160 for food. So we 1.5 that, so it's about 400-ish. Yeah, about 400-ish. Less than 400. So key thing here, empty food storage items, so that would be the barrels that we're making. I'm going to set that to less than 5. Greater than 5 rather. Greater than 5. Because that means that it interacts nicely. If I was needing it to be 10, I haven't set the barrels I'm making to have 10 empty barrels. So if I was just leaving this going, we'd never brew because we'd never have enough barrels to brew. And change that to brew 5 times. And also for the still brew drink from fruit. No, that was. I've got pop-ups coming that some of you playing at home might not have. I've got DF Hack installed that adds some extra prompts and extra UI options and elements. I've been meaning to put together my mod list and put it in the description here and on YouTube. I might do that overnight tonight. I'll try and remember to do that overnight tonight. Still brew drink from plant that we got. So I'll do the same condition setup. Drinks. Unauthorized plants. Greater than 5. 5. Less than 400. There we go. So they're going to start brewing up there until I've got enough drink and enough food. Going to be making food, going to be making drink until all of that's sorted. So that puts some stuff there. I know I've just said that I'm not going to deal with work order stuff, the menu. Not going to deal with making clothes just yet, but I am going to set up some of the cloth processing stuff, just to make sure that we've got options. So let's pets and livestock. So I have 2 sheep and a llama and a lamb. So that's 4 animals that can be sheared. Oh, dog was killed. That's a shame. Do I have a female puppy? Yeah. Okay, so it's just gonna still breed. So I've got 4 animals that can be sheared. You can shear an animal every 300 days. So I'm going to set this to happen 5 times a year. Once a season should do it. I'm trying to remember if there is a seasonal option for the frequency. So time, check seasonally. There we go. And then just shear an animal 1. So it's 1 a season, so I'll do 4 a year. That'll work for now. That means I'll get wool, and wool goes through all those other things. I believe in the standing orders I've got automatically weave or thread. So work orders. What I'll do is it in the farmer's workshop? Spin thread. Unrun hot water head body part is greater than. Yeah, let's do it as 10. Let's just do it as 10. Make it easy. What else is sensible to have task-wise, just so I never need to think about it again? Yeah, let's just set this up to make a couple of beds. Amount of beds is less than, let's go with less than 2. Logs is greater than 10, so it doesn't interfere with the wood I need for my barrels and bins, because that's more important. Make a bed. So I'm going to have 2 to 3 beds in stock at all times. I think I've got like 20 at the moment, so it's less of an issue. But I just want to make sure that I don't have problems. Rock blocks. And again, let's just make a few rock blocks whenever I don't have rock blocks. Not economic hard rock, available is greater than 10, not satisfied, because I haven't needed to dig out this space. Coal and coke, that's a good idea. I haven't set... Yeah, let's do some of that. I haven't got much fuel to work with, so I've been kind of holding off on some of that stuff, but yeah, so... So, again, gentle sentient in the chat, prompting me to make sensible decisions. So, amount of coke is less than 10. So this is making coke from lignite. So is greater than 2. So, what might be surprising to people who aren't thinking about actual metallurgy, you cannot just burn the rock you get out of the ground. We're talking about coal sources. There is a processing step that needs to be done. So as what you are, so the coal that you dig up, the lignite or the bituminous coal, has a processing step that needs to happen. So that processing step is what's known as coking in the real world. It's a process where you anoxically heat the coal to drive off the non-carbon impurities. So this was one of the big things that sparked the Industrial Revolution. As a child, I went to Ironbridge, which is out near Cheddar Gorge in the southwest of England. Went there several times. They have there some of old Victorian blast furnaces that were used for iron smelting. Well, there's like a historic town near Ironbridge. Ironbridge is so named because it has the first all-iron construction bridge that was ever made, crossing Cheddar Gorge. It's a beautiful bit of engineering. It's put together using carpentry joints because nobody had made iron construction at that scale before. It's very, very, very aesthetic. I appreciate if people want to visit, go there. I am not paid by the Tourist Board of England. Just a fan. But one of the things that was explained to me there was how coke. So then what they would do is they would have enormous fires, and then they would bury the coal over these heated elements, so that it would be heated, but it wouldn't burn. It drives away the sulfur. It drives away other impurities. It drives away any trapped water that might be in that crystalline matrix, and leaves just, or as much as possible, just the carbon. And that means that when you're working, when you're burning it, it burns cleaner. You get less smoke, and when you're using it for metallurgical reasons, for carbon, as a carbon source in steel making, for example, you've got more control over what you're adding into your metal. So you aren't thinking you're creating a high carbon steel when you're creating a low carbon steel. You aren't adding a bunch of sulfur and other things that might make a metal brittle in a way that you're not intending it to. So it's a really important step. Dwarf Fortress takes that into account. You cannot just burn the coal you get out of the ground. You have to process it into fuel. The way you do that is you smelt it in a furnace, effectively. This does have a fun little loop where, in order to make coal, you need to have coal. there is a way. So the way into this loop is charcoal making. You take a piece of wood, you burn it into charcoal. I have very little wood in this map, but on the surface level, caverns are dangerous. So I'm trying to be cautious about doing things like that, but it makes sense to me to work from coal wherever I can. There isn't much coal in this map either. Again, once we have access to magma, I'll be doing magma forges, magma smelters, magma kilns, so that I don't have to use coal as a raw material. But having stuff in place so that I automatically produce the coal I need makes sense to me. So thank you for that prompt. So the reason I'm explaining this is to kind of pull myself back. The suggested conditions here has a paradox in it, unless you're thinking about the prerequisites of the process. So the amount of coke available is less than 10. That's your raw material. That's the end product I want to have. So I want to have more than 10 coke. Yeah, so for magma still needs coal for steel. You still need coal to do as metallurgically. You still need the coal as the carbon source in steel making, but you don't need it to fuel the process. So it eliminates the need for coal in all other processes, apart from making ash. But there's other. That's not really coal, it's just straight wood, isn't it? It eliminates the need for coal in all of the processes, and in steel making, it significantly reduces the amount of coal you need, because you need for the pig iron step and for the steel step, you need a unit of coal with the metal and a unit of coal as fuel. Whereas with a magma furnace, you just need the metallurgical coal. But yeah, so you need coal as an input to smelt to make the coke. So if I just left this as the default numbers, if I had 10 coal, there would never be a situation where I'd have less than 10 coke and greater than 10 coal, unless I was doing some charcoal making on the side. So this would never trigger. So I've adjusted this refined coal number down so that I can kickstart this when I want to kickstart this. Admittedly, it's not triggering at the moment because I haven't mined any coal, but that's ready there waiting. So I think that more or less makes sure that we've got the raw materials we need to do other things. Let's come back up to surface level. Again, I need to do something about these bodies, because otherwise they're just going to stink up the place. Have I got a butcher set up? There is a workshops menu. I should be looking at that. Places, workshops. Scroll past 1 billion metalsmiths forges. I don't have a butcher. That is something that will be resolved. So currently I've got all my animals at the surface layer, so it makes sense for the butcher to be co-located. Additionally, little hint for folks: if your butcher is what is deemed to be outside, you don't get miasma. Miasma does not form outside. However, if you have out the way Dwarf Fortress considers inside and outside spaces, anything that's been exposed to the surface is outside. It doesn't matter if it is then enclosed. I've used this before to do surface plant growing underground by just opening a channel to the surface and then building floors. And I'm going to do a similar job here, I think, so that I can have the butchers in a sensible location indoors, and then but not have to deal with all of the rot that might come from nervous tissue or cartilage or stuff that doesn't get taken out of the butcher's house, butcher's workshop fast enough. So yeah, workshop, farming, butcher, blocked at this location. Oh yeah, because it's too high up. Look at the wrong layer. Let's put you there for the sake of argument. Make you in microline, because microline is a pleasant shade of blue. Butcher necessitates tanner. That is a fair statement, but I can bring the tanner. No, I want the tanner nearby because the raw hides can still rot. Let's just unpause for a little bit, repause. These naked mole dogs are a problem, but that problem is getting resolved over time. Workshops, farming, tannery. Put you nearby. Put you in schist for the contrast. And then come. Workshops, farming, farmer's shop. That's what I should have done. That's what I should have done. I should have set milking on a routine as well. Now, I can't remember how often you can milk an animal. I think it's once a season. Workshop. I will check offline to suggested conditions. Add a condition. Amount of type. Buckets. Adjective. 17 days. Thank you very much. You've been very helpful, Gentle Sentient. Thank you very much. So I've got empty buckets is at least 2. Then milk animal. Let's go with 2, and then set that frequency to monthly. So I'm not going to be getting as much milk as I would otherwise, as I theoretically could, but that's largely because I want to make cheese. Unrotten milk items greater than 10. Make 10 cheese. Yeah, that makes not greater than actually. At least 10. So yeah, that should cause some jobs to happen. Deal with some of these mole rat bodies. Unforbid that statue for the sake of argument. Bituminous has got coal blocks. Now that's a choice right there. Not my choice, I will say. It's a lot of the architecture we're seeing here has been designed by the procedural generation process. Just having a look around. Looking in the creatures menu for anything dangerous other than... Where's that troll? Is that troll, like, climbing? So there's a troll there, which might start coming from my dwarves. But I don't have anybody super close. I think I'm okay. Yeah, I think at this point, I'm happy to unpause and start thinking about where I'm digging to get raw rock for all of the other things I'm trying to achieve. So a bunch of fighting is happening. Those naked mole dogs. Let's just set them to be killed by my militia. Just to speed things along. I do not know where the rest of them are. There's 4 targets of my 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that's fine. Confirm. Right, there we go. Butcher shop dealt with. Oh, and that. Oh no, that's fine. Oh, made a masterpiece tower cut bin. There's one more dog done. One thieving or mischievous creature left, so that's... There is this... It's running away. Work order menu, just having a look. We've got... What's going on? Might just add a new task. Wooden bucket. Just have a couple spare so that we can start milking and cooking. Wood bin's been completed. Oops, that's dealt with the mole rats. Which the whole task will overload the butchers most likely. That's not the end of the world. Like I'm appreciating that this is going to be a bit of a slower start, just because well, it doesn't need to be as fast a start. First of all, because I've got a bunch of resources already made for me. But it's also going to be a slower start because I'm having to deal with all of this stuff as well as setting up a fortress. And, you know, starting a fortress that's already connected to the caverns and has things like a giant cave spider in it. Cave crocodile, is that anywhere near me? Is that anywhere I need to worry about? Not immediately. And a breacher, is that anywhere I need to worry about? Not really. Cool. Make some of that floor. Again, they're just not... I don't know why they aren't using the tomb. Do I need to, like, dig a new dedicated space for the tomb? How deep does this go? Because I have set up tombs, and they just aren't. They aren't even allocating the task to. Like it's not even showing the task list to make the to put the body in the tomb. So I might need. I remember seeing something that tombs don't work above ground. I'm wondering whether these count as above ground, open spaces and above ground, for the purposes of that because they were already quarried out. Yeah, that sounds reasonable to me. Because that's the only thing I can think of that would be causing that. So, where to dig? Where would be a good place to put tombs? Near the surface, I think. So also stone that I want to get my hands on. Gypsum, not really. Limestone? Hello. Gremlin, drive us away. With hammers. Right. Let's come up to the surface again. Let's see whether they've busy doing other things at the moment. Actually, no. Whilst I do like that limestone, I think that's a bad plan. Because I've set limestone not to be used outside of metallurgical roles. However, bituminous coal I'm fine with. And whatever rock comes out of that space I'm also fine with. And let's set this as a high priority so I don't have to deal with ghosts. Because it has been a month or two since those dwarves died. Yep, gremlins dealt with. Oh, cave crocodile has come close. Let's resolve my cave crocodile issue before I lose any dwarves. I'll lose too many dwarves. Are you injured? Oh, no. Yeah, novice shield view, novice army using nothing discipline. Might need to. Health description. Yeah, I think the miner that showed up there did some work with the pickaxe. So there we go. Yes, and there's bauxite, so I can... Oh yeah, I need to remove those... Actually, remove the coffins as well, so I can reuse them. Order... Make rock door. 2 of them. Just at the moment. I know I could repurpose existing doors, but that's a hassle. So, Cave Crocodile, Militia Commander. Yep, seems to be going the Militia Commander's direction. The joys of coming into a fortress with a load of equipment already available. Copper shield, iron mace, iron shirt. Coating of sweat. Thirsty work. But you're annoyed. Why are you sad? Not being able to rest and recuperate. That was a bit of an awkward situation, I will admit. But again, it's just about job assignment and dealing with this short-term issue. Why are you thirsty? There's a tavern right here. So 20 minutes left of this stream, so I do try and stick to the schedule. 7 o'clock until 9 o'clock my time, UK time, so that's, I don't know what that is in other places in the world. Stray reindeer cow, okay, that's something. If I... stray cow calf, tame... Let's put those out there for the moment. Do want to get through this stuff at some point, but there's enough other jobs going on. Yeah, sleeping, which I don't doubt is now happening because dormitoire. That's a point. I need to set up bedrooms as well as tombs. Door. No, I haven't made them yet. Okay. Zones, bedroom, multi. No beds. Okay. Furniture, bed, keep building placement, use close material. Bop, 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 bop. And then bedroom. Assignments. Done. Just made some bedrooms. Unforbid things for the sake of that's in the way. It's fine. Just pause it. Things that I still need to do. I still need to set up proper defences, start moving some of the working spaces underground, but for the moment I think we've got things more or less how we want them. Assuming that I can set those tombs up when they work. Where are they? Furniture, burial, pop, pop. Door, tomb, multi. Done. So hopefully that one will work. Oh, gems. Nice. Should start doing some gem working at some point. Ooh. Winter has arrived. Let's cancel that because I forgot to alter the instructions. So to after placement. Well, it's already blocks. Can't do anything about that. Oh. Reacher is fighting. Dabbling on using discipline. I might need prayer. I'll set up a temple next week, I think. Do a proper job of it. So yeah, this is soil. So that's going to be important. That's going to be useful. Place item tomb. It is that outdoors thing. Noted. Important to realise. So that's a lot of clothing being gathered, but that's fine. Creatures, other. A Gorlak and a weasel and a troll. Where's that troll? That troll is potential issue. I don't think I've got any dwarves near it. got some bedrooms. No, let's set that temple up now. Let's put it here. So this is just going to be a meeting area for the sake of argument. Why did I just cancel that? Accept. And new temple, no specific deity, although might actually do some looking into the deities off screen. There's a lot of interesting stuff that goes on with deities and their images and things. Well, if a non-specific deity, so everybody can pray when they need to pray. And see details, citizens only. Citizens and long-term residents only. How am I doing in terms of stocks? I've got things, and they're in places. Yeah. This is right in the bowels of the place as well. Native gold tetrahedrite. Nice. Yeah. So Dave, I want to think about where and how I'm going to do long-term crafting and similar. Like, what's the plan? You'll get some well-earned rest. Put a nice chest in every room. And a nice cabinet in every room. But with that many platinum cabinets, it should be easy enough for me to deal with any requests from nobles who want very nice things. So I've got bedrooms and they haven't been claimed by anybody yet. That pen pasture is a pain, but... Oh! Giant Kia overcome by terror. And you're indoors. Well, I'm not entirely enclosed, I've still got that gap. Ho-hum. Yeah, defense I think might do for another day. Because again, it's just getting the basics set. It's taken me so long to get the basics set up that yeah, that's better. No risk of ghosts. I don't have a corpse in the middle of my one crop field causing me problems. Resume construction. No, I don't have. Unusable slope yet. those giant Kias, I was not anticipating having to deal with that. Right. That's a good enough reason as any to work out a way to block that off. Oh, I'm really higher than surface level there, aren't I? Not here, okay. Build a floor there, and then dismantle that floor. Should be manageable. Goose fighting the giant Kia, because it can also fly, I guess. Here's the thing. I didn't get to see biome data. This is a reclaimed fortress, so I didn't get to see um, the underlying, what resources were here. I didn't get to see the climate, and I didn't get to see the biome type. So, to be fair, the other times I've embarked in savage biomes, I've seen giant animals basically immediately, and up to this point I hadn't seen anything giant other than the giant cave spider, but caverns work on a different spawn system. So this was out a bolt from the blue, but we can I don't think they've stolen anything of incredible value. And there we go. That'll keep me in meat for a little while. Are they coming in or are they going away? You look like you're coming in. Unfortunately, giant birds are faster than the average dwarf. So, as well as being capable of flight. Let's become a brewer. That's pretty cool. Giant Kia meat, giant Kia brain, feathers, kidneys. Yeah, that's good eating. One injured citizen. Ooh. What's happened to you? Bookkeeper. description. Upper leg is cut open and broken nose. Fight against a troglodyte, which I don't think is still ongoing. There we go. Snatches a bookkeeper right upper leg with the first toe. Giant key here. Does a bunch of biting. Yeah, just got in the fight with the giant Kia and came out on top, but at what cost? And yeah, this is looking like it all counts as surface because the rotting animals that I've had up here, or parts of animals, haven't had any problems. So that's useful to know. Got a lot of bones though. Might do some bone crafting in a bit. Cassiterite, interesting. Got some cassiterite ore of tin, which is could come in handy. Two thieving mysterious creatures. I need to do something about animal control, but until I start getting grass growth on this, I don't see it being a straightforward thing. I think you can get grass growth on furrowed ground. I might need to do mud or something. Tanning hides, good. I can dig out some more, so I could do more rock, just for doing rock-based things. So in that case, I'm looking for rock to do rock-based things. It's a good place for me to put some of the other things I want to do, particularly leatherworking. Could do cutting down the tree actually. Other blind cave ogres. Ugh. I say. Unpleasant. Must stay aware of them. There we go. So I've hit my drinks target. No longer have giant Kias to worry about. Going to gather some plants as well. Then whilst that's going on, let's give her some, let's we're working with jet, hematite, kaolinite, don't want digging kaolinite really, gypsum. Yeah, let's work in jet. Jet's pretty cool. Leatherworking and a leather stockpile. Actually, the other thing I can do here is start setting up some bone crafting. Start making some trade goods, dealing with all these skeletons. You're touched by a tick, man. Was not expecting that. I'm not expecting much, am I? Mm. Health description. Person with the head and legs of a tick. So they're capable of interrupting tasks, but they don't seem to be actively hostile. Just listed as a wild animal. Oh, no. Tick men are fighting my dogs, so I kind of have to deal with them. And labour, kitchen, deal with, because I am gathering plants from outside, I'm just added a whole bunch of different things to this listing. Though some of this is more of a problem than others. Like I could keep the wheat for grinding into flour, but I don't really want to. And I've got all this milk that I can be cheesing with. What's stopping my making cheese job? Ah, I see. If I got that to 2 and then drop that to 2. It might be that it's counting the buckets rather than the amount of stuff in the buckets. Or barrel. Yeah, Tickminer. Lish Commander. Let's get 4 doors. That didn't do what I wanted it to do. Oh, door. And let's make 4 of those. Oh, goodness me, it's that time. So yeah, we've made a little bit of progress today. I'll try and do another. I'll be doing another stream same time next week, hopefully. And with that, I'll do my level best to rationalise some of this stuff. The Kia attack was a little unexpected, but it's good to know now that I know that we're in a savage biome, that we've got that to contend with. Starting moving some of my crafting underground, working with some of these raw materials, and making sense of some of these deep stockpiles. that part of me wonders whether what I should do is move my stockpiles down here just to reduce the amount of back and forth, and then focus my efforts in these already excavated regions. But we'll see. See, I think I can probably do something sensible with that. I do need raw materials from digging out. Anyway, I'm distracting myself. It's been a genuine pleasure streaming. Thank you very much for chatting. So should be 7 o'clock next Monday. I might stream something else during the week, depending on if I've got free time. I might not. I've got some wargaming stuff coming up in the next few weekends, which prep for might take a little bit of time. But yeah, it's been a great pleasure. I'll be uploading this to YouTube as soon as I can. See you around. I've been Legroom 2368. The song that you heard during the opening titles is A New Hero in Town by Kevin MacLeod. If you're watching on Twitch, thank you very much for watching my Twitch. Consider following so you can get alerted when I go live. If you're interested in me retweeting random memes and left-wing political stuff, follow me on Twitter. I also announce my streams there, and I upload all of my streams to YouTube, youtube.com/supermegaambivalent. Please follow, like, subscribe, all of that good fun stuff. And we will see you next week. Ta-ra.